I get halfway through my video when I say I need to take a break, and I check on the camera and it's not even on. I guess it's a good thing. I get to practice what I'm about to say, right? Hi friends, it's your plantita abogada Melissa from Tasteful Nodes, coming to you today with a episode about these three musketeers. The Philodendron White Princess, the Philodendron White Knight, and the Philodendron White Wizard. If you've ever had any question about which is which, feel free to join me as I examine the differences between each plant. First things first, let's go ahead and get through our disclaimers real quick. One, I'm not going to be paying any plant child support for any y'all, okay? If you guys see something you like, make sure it's within your budget, okay? We're not trying to send anyone into bankruptcy by buying too many plants. Number two, there isn't a lot of factual information about these guys, except for the stuff that I'm about to share with you today, and that's going to be purely based on what I see and what I've experienced with these three plants. Any information online is really hard to find, and if you do choose to use this information for any kind of academic resource or academic purpose, feel free to shoot me a message, and I could go ahead and send you pictures to back up the descriptions that I actually mentioned in this video, okay? Number three, get a second opinion on everything. It's not legal advice, it's just good practical advice to have, right? What may turn out to be violet on this video may actually be pink. You know, what turns out to be violet in your pictures may actually be pink. What I'm trying to say is, if you're not sure about the coloring, go ahead and take a picture of your own plant, post it somewhere where you've got reputable members, I guess. You could check out Aroids Plus Plant Tips Philippines, right? We do a lot of plant identification there. You can also post your picture at the International Aroid Society's Facebook page. They're great. A lot of experts there. And then another Facebook page that I would recommend is Philodendron Enthusiasts. They focus solely on philodendrons, so yeah, I would totally hit them up for information from time to time. Now, with the disclaimers out of the way, the reason I decided to do this video is because, like the Florida hybrids, like the Florida cultivars, there are so many people asking, what is this plant? Is it a Philodendron White Princess? Is it a Philodendron White Knight? Is it a Philodendron White Wizard? And there aren't a lot of resources that we can just copy a link and send to these people. In fact, the resources are almost non-existent. It is all the same stuff recycled over and over. Like, you can't find anything from a reputable database or plant index for that matter. It's odd. And I have a feeling it has something to do with the fact that these are probably hybrids and not species or subspecies for that matter. But that's okay. That's what we're here for today. We're actually going to discuss the differences between each plant. We're going to discuss what makes each plant unique, and then the differences compared to each other. Whew. Okay, good. I think the first plant we'll start out with is the White Wizard. So give me a second. Let me go ahead and put him in the spotlight, right? So the Philodendron White Wizard. This guy has a nice sturdy stem, lots of aerial roots popping out of it. I don't know if you could see them all over the place. The stem exhibits white and green, as do the petioles. Here we go. So we got some white and green as well. The leaves almost always have white and green. The whites range from like minty whites to really, really white. But aside from that, there really isn't much else to say about the Philodendron White Wizard. The leaves do tend to be a little wider than the other two, and you'll see that later when I go ahead and compare it. But I mean, you've got a heart-shaped leaf which eventually tapers towards the last third of the leaf rather than towards the half. So it's a little bit wider than these two. As far as care is concerned, this guy has been my problem child between the three of them. He has been in LECA twice because he suffered root rot twice. And this is his third time out of LECA. No, this is his third time in potting mix. Okay, this is his third time in potting mix, and I think I finally have the mix right for him. He's in a really, really well draining potting mix compared to these other two. And I want to say it's a little less well draining than cactus and succulent mix. That's why we've got some moss on top. I'm located in the Philippines, Tarlac to be specific, and it gets really, really hot here. It dries out super fast. And with the really well draining soil mix, I had to make sure that it wasn't too well draining that it would dry out the roots, but it wasn't so water retentive that it would actually cause root rot a third time. So that's what I have him in, is in really well draining mix. I keep him in bright and direct light conditions. The baby's angry today. He's a perfectionist, and the puzzles are just not working for him. I mean, how dare they not line up the way he says they need to line up? Wonder who he gets that from. Anyway, back to care conditions. The care conditions I have this guy in, actually all three of them, but for this guy specifically, I try to keep him out of direct sunlight because, as you can see here, this happened before the leaf unfurled, so it was still curled up, and we had a really, really bad heat wave here. I had a few plants that got burned. He was one of them because he was on a lower tier on my plant rack. So I keep him higher now, higher meaning he's further out of the sun. Really good bright conditions, but no longer has morning sun for this guy. And watering, same watering schedule as everyone else. I just tweaked his, like I said, his potting mix to make sure that by the time I watered him, he was ready for it. As far as fertilization goes, I fertilize these guys with slow release fertilizer, and then I just leave them be. I will water them with a soil conditioner, HB 101 to be specific, once a week. But yeah, that's it. That is it. Now let's go to this plant. Now this plant is the Philodendron White Wizard. Can't really tell the difference between the two, right? Well, there's some differences. I'll point that out. But I mean, they're very, very similar. White and green variegations, similar shaped leaves. But what makes the White Knight different is the stem. The stem exhibits violet and white. The petioles also exhibit violet and white. The cataphyls, like this guy right here, that's not really a cataphyl, also violet and white. The leaves are, just like the White Wizard, green and white, so the whites range from minty whites here, as you can see here, to really, really white on this half moon leaf. But there's a special secret about this plant, and that it's sometimes you will see violet streaks on it, right? If you look behind the leaves, actually, that's probably a good place to look. If you look behind the leaves, you'll also see violet streaks on the bottom of the leaves. Sometimes you will see it on top, and I'll provide you a close-up of that side by side. But you do see some violet streaks on the top as well. And here's another example of the violet underneath the leaves. No violet on top, just very little on this leaf. But yeah, that's one of the differences between this plant, the White Knight, and the White Wizard. And it's an important difference because we're gonna see a little bit of that in the next plant. Care for this guy is pretty similar to the White Wizard, except for its potting mix, I have a little bit more water retentive material, such as carbonized rice hull. I'm in the Philippines, so this stuff is easy for me to find. Instead of having it too much like a cactus and succulent mix, I have a little bit more carbonized rice hull. I have some wood chips, and I have some vermicast, and it looks good. I mean, the leaves keep coming out. This has always been out of direct sunlight. I mean, not even morning sunlight, because I didn't want to chance it. It had a lot more white on the leaves than the White Wizard did, so I didn't want to chance it, and so far so good. It's doing really well. Out of these three guys, this is the last plant that I got out of the series. The first plant, funny enough, is that guy. That guy. He's the one that was the first plant out of these three, and he doesn't have much to show for because of all the root rot and the temper tantrums that he threw in the beginning. But yeah, so this is the last guy. He looks great. Doing quite well, if I must say. Now, this last plant is the Philodendron White Princess. And the Philodendron White Princess, much like her counterparts, the White Wizard and the White Knight, have similar shaped leaves, have white and green variegated leaves, and that's pretty much where it ends, right? Oh no, I lie. They also have lots and lots of aerial roots. They just love their aerial roots. Aerial roots. They pop out of everywhere. Could probably be easy to propagate because of that through air layering, but I digress. With the White Princess, the distinctive feature of this guy is the white, pink, and green that you see on the petioles and the stems. Actually, you see it better on the petioles. The stem, not so much, but definitely the petioles. Oh, there's a little bit right here where you can see the white and a little bit of pink right here on the stem. But it's very, very evident on the petioles themselves. I'll make sure to take video so you can see it up close. And also, not that I've seen it on this plant in particular, but like the White Knight, you do tend to see some white princesses that have tricolor leaves. You will see them with white, green, and pink on their leaves. So far, the only place I see pink on my leaves are on the outline. And I'll have some video on that so you can see what I'm talking about. But I do have pink on my outlines, and it's just fantastic. It's a nice little surprise. I do have a little bit of pink on the back of the leaves as well, but nothing on the front yet. I'm hoping that I get to see some pink on it. The white variegation on this ranges again from minty white to really, really white. I have a suspicion that all three of them are climbers just because of... I have a suspicion that the three of them may be climbers because of the aerial roots. However, I haven't tried it. Out of the three of them, I would think the White Knight might not be, but that's just because he's so small and I can't tell yet. But if they're all the same plant but different mutations, then it's quite possible that they are all three climbers. But that remains to be seen, and perhaps maybe updated in a future video. For this princess, I actually have her in bright and direct light as well. She's usually right next to the White Knight. Her soil mix is the same as the White Knight's, and her watering schedule is the same as the three of them, right? As the other two. As far as I'm concerned, these guys are likely hybrids. I can't see them being direct mutations off of the Pink Princess. So they may be mutations of a complex hybrid that contains an arabescens, not a arabescens, but contains at least one arabescens within the hybridization process. There you go. What I'm trying to say is, it's not just 1 + 1 = 2, right? It's probably, these plants, I'm guessing, are probably either mutations through tissue culture, which, I mean, what are the odds that all three of them would come out within years of each other, you know? But I'm guessing that they're probably complex hybrids off of hybrids done previously, which would make it interesting. Unfortunately, and the reason I'm guessing is because we don't have documentation. No one's documented who created these plants, where they're from. Websites online will tell you that they're from South America, but it's like, where in South America? South America's huge. It's just really generic information, not a lot of specifics given, and they're just really relying on people who have all three to, you know, to understand what the differences are. Not cool at all, but it's okay. It definitely makes for an interesting collection. Now, to recap, the differences between all three of them initially can be found on their stems. So the White Wizard will have stems that show green and white. The White Knight will have stems that show violet and white. And finally, the White Princess will have stems that show green and white, sometimes pink. The petioles for the White Wizard will show as green and white. The petioles for the White Knight will show as violet, purple, and white. The petioles for the White Princess will show as pink, white, and green. And then finally, the leaves for the White Wizard will show as green and white. You know, varying shades of white, fine, but it'll be green and white. The leaves of the White Knight will show as white and green with some violet streaks, either on top or underneath. The leaves for the White Princess will show as white and green with some pink streaks or pink sectoral variegations. I've seen some White Princesses which just have fantastic sectoral variegations. So those are the differences as far as I can tell from these three in my collection. I hope this information is helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to give me a subscribe, turn on the notifications so that you could get notified when I post my other videos. Give this video a like. Also, check me out on Facebook. I post longer posts there, informational posts, sometimes memes. Things that I can't normally post here on YouTube go on to my Facebook account. I'm on Facebook as Tasteful Nodes. And then finally, if you need to see some pretty pictures before you go off to bed, check me out on Instagram. I'm there as Tasteful Nodes as well. Okay. And again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, I guess. Keep your nose classy and tasteful, guys. Bye.